Now we are going to use REST-Studio and Internet Express to access InterBase database and manipulate the data. So first, let's create a C++ VCFO application. And in order to access the employee database, you can go to the tool palette under the InterBase component category. You can drop in an IP database component to connect it to the InterBase database. You need to right-click it and to activate database editor, and you can type in the InterBase database you want to access, and give your InterBase account information. Then you can test whether you can connect it to it or not. Now you can see that we successfully connect to the InterBase already. So let's close it. Now let's drop another component, that is IP transaction. You can link the IP transaction component to the IP database. And in order to access the sample employee table, you can drop in an IP query component and link it to the IP database component. And then you can go to the SQL property here and click here to activate its command text editor. You can select the table you want to access, and then you can select the table, and it will generate the necessary SQL statement for you. And now if you click activate to true, the data is selected from the InterBase employee table into the IP query component. So now let's put in a tData source component here, link it to the IP query, and put in a DB navigator here, and align it to the top, and put in another DB grid here, also align it to the top. Okay, now we can connect these two DB aware components to the data source. So you can see that the data show up inside the DB grid. Now you can make this project and try to run it. You can see that it is pure Win32 C++ application that can access InterBase. But as you can see that now you are only in a read mode, because all the insert, delete, or edit button is disabled. Okay, so if you want to manipulate data inside the employee table, we need to put in another component, that is InterBase update SQL component. So now you can put in the InterBase update SQL component and link it to the IP query component, and then you click the IP update component, right click it. There's the update SQL editor, so you can activate the editor, and you can see that the IP update SQL component knows that you want to manipulate the employee table. So you can click the generate SQL button. Once you click it, it will generate the modify, insert, delete, and refresh SQL component for you. Then you can click OK. Now, when you finish setting the IP update SQL component, let's click the DB Navigator button. You can see that if you go to the visible button here, you can add in other button, for example, apply update or cache the update. Okay, so that these two components are used under the cache update mode. Right now we don't need to do that, so we can just make this application again, and then run the application. Now you can see that, okay, the insert button, delete button, edit button is enabled. Okay, that is because now the application see this application can use the IB update SQL's SQL statement to do the necessary data manipulation operation. So now let's come back here again and put in edit control here, and let's bind it to the phone extension build here. Okay, then we can make this application again and run it again. So now if we navigate to the different record, you can see that the phone extension data is shown up in this edit control. Now if we want to update the phone extension, for example, I want to change it from 256 to 2561, then I can tap 1 and then update the record and then refresh the record. Okay, you can see that now the data is updated to the new value and then back to the InterBase database. We can also do a search data operation. For example, if I want to search a particular person inside this data set, okay, so I can add in another edit control here and put in a button. And inside this button, okay, you can use some code here. So inside this code, we can type in the code. For example, IB query 1. We have a locate first name and edit to text and options. Okay, so now if you make this application again and run it, so now you can see that if you want to search Terry, you put in Terry and click the button. Now you can see that we can successfully search Terry record inside this table.